Hi folks, my name's Chuck and this is Hiking with Roulette Run. And today is day 2 of hiking the Adena Trace Loop Trail, and it's been quite the challenge. So stay tuned, see where we go. Alright folks, so this was camp last night. I had intended to record when I got here, but I was so wiped out. I did 14 and a half miles yesterday. I ended up falling a second time. I'll get into that here in just a little bit. So everything's packed up, everything's exactly as I found it, including the feather. It's a beautiful sunny morning. You can hardly tell it out here. Hold on a second. I had to adjust my camera exposure to be able to see out there without it being too bright. Of course that darkened it way up here, but at any rate, it's a beautiful morning. It is currently, oh boy, 7:47. A lot later than I wanted to get rolling out of camp, but I was slow this morning. Current job 1 this morning is water. This is where I camp. And as you can see, there's no real way down there. That's about 15 foot down there. There's no real way down there to get water out of that lake from here. So the hope is somewhere along this trail, which now goes right along the lake, there will be a place where I can get down into it and filter water, or a stream coming in, one or the other. I don't know whether you can see this, but this path goes right up along that way. Holy cow. All this driftwood. Quite the obstacle. However, this may be my opportunity to get down to the shoreline, filter water. Well, we're back on a decent trail. I got watered up. Also got my feet wet. And this is pretty muddy right through here. I was almost done filling my second water bottle when a boat has to come along and its wake came splashing up on the shoreline and got mostly my left foot wet. This is interesting. So, yesterday, Onyx Backcountry said I did 14 and a half miles. Now, supposedly, this is a 25-mile loop. And I'm not on the other side of the lake yet. I'm very close to getting to the causeway, but I'm not there yet. And I have to travel all the way back as far south as I came north. We will see. So we had a good breakfast this morning. Took care of the necessities of life. And then got packed up and got out of there. I have to admit, I was moving a little slow this morning. I was stiff and sore. Now originally, I had intended this to be a 2-day trip. And if in fact that I only have about 10.5 miles to go, it will be. I just have my doubts looking at the map. Oh, we're having fun now. Here in a minute, we're gonna get up here and have to do a road walk. I guess I could have got water right there. So here we are, here on the causeway. Quite a ways across. I ran into a couple. I'm gonna wait till I get out of this wind. I know you're hearing that. Okay, so I found the trail. It was basically unmarked up there at the road. I went about 100 yards or so before I realized I was on the wrong section. So now I'm on the Wolf Creek Trail section of the Adena Trace, which is actually a combination of shorter trails that are all put together to make one. I ran into some young fellas, probably about 9 or 10 of them, that were waiting up there on the road where I came up on the other side of the causeway, and they were waiting on a ride. Apparently they had done this section of trail, or I should say this side of the lake yesterday, and they were giving up. And so I will tell you that I had it figured to do this in 2 days of hiking. That being said, I was smart enough to pack an extra 2 meals just in case I couldn't get it done in 2 days of hiking. Now they've told me that this side of the trail is very unclear, and maybe they know what they're talking about. I'm already running into some serious, but I will say that there is some blazes on the trees on this side, which those were pretty rare on the other side. But the trail was relatively easy to follow, as is this so far. Now they told me they got off trail, and I will tell you that I missed a turn yesterday that I paid for, and I had to use a cut that was made for the towers for the power lines, and I had to travel, I don't know, 1/3 of a mile down a very steep hill, and that thing was, I'm not going to say it was nothing but thistles, because that's not accurate, but it sure as heck had a whole bunch of thistles, and it was very painful, and I did fall once. There was no seeing where you were putting your foot. And I did fall, although it was nothing like the first fall that I showed you in the mud. That one left a lasting impression. There, over here, and I felt that one. That was burning. That was another thing I had to use a little water for last night. My 2 liters didn't go very far once of course, I had topped off water a little ways before I got to where I camped at, and so I had drank quite a bit of it. I was going through water yesterday. In fact, I easily went through more than a gallon. Probably about 1.25 gallons would be my guess. I got a little place here where the steps are not so easily followed. They do say also online that this side of the trail is much more rugged than the other side. If that's true, it's going to be a beast. And come about 10 miles, who knows, I may be hanging it up for the day. Well, it's either take the pack off and go under, or come over here and slide over the top. That is the trail though, because the blaze is right there on the other side. Decisions. I think I'm going up and over. Crawl over the top. Well, I think I can do this. I think I can get through right over here without taking my shoes off. Famous last words. Whereas over here, that's going to be a definite shoe off crossing there. I think I can do this. Alright, so that was pretty much a piece of cake. I came across right there. Luckily, this area of Indiana is pretty much limestone bedrock, and it tends to break off, flake off, whatever you want to call it, in flat sections, pieces, whatever you want to say. And so they don't have near as much of a tendency to try to roll on you when you step on them as something more rounded, something closer to some of these pebbles and whatnot down here, where if they were larger they would roll and your feet would try to slide off of them much easier. And so that's very helpful. I don't mind telling you, I was doing some desperate searching for a blaze when I found that one. I had gone up into the woods, and there is like a monster hill that has to be climbed over here on this side of this creek. And I was desperately searching for a blaze to find a path to do it. And I came back down to the creek bed and started seeing the blazes going back from the direction I came, which kind of led me downstream a bit. And I finally found one off into the trail there, about 15-20 feet off of the creek bed. Whew. That's a godsend. Alright, so I thought I would take a break up there at the top of this hill that I have to climb. But this short ways in off that creek. In fact, I can still see a little bit over this direction. But just a little bit off that creek here, I came across this perfect little break spot, and it was calling my name. Presumably this is where the young guys that I saw earlier on the other side of the causeway camp. It's actually still smoking a little bit under here. It looks like they piled rocks up on top of everything, trying to make sure that there was no fire escapage. So it looks like they did their best, short of going down to the creek and getting water to put on there. And I'll give them a B minus. Okay, so after a 15 or so minute break, ready to get back on trail here. And it looks like there's a draw that goes right up between these two monstrous hills. And it looks like the trail follows up into that draw. And I expect goes up one of the hills from there. I haven't followed it around yet to see where it heads, but we're going to find out right now. Alright, so I'm up on top of that hill now. And it did follow that draw quite a long ways up through there. And then it crossed over to the left side. And it began doing a bunch of switchbacks up to the top of the hill. Which thank goodness for that, because and I would have filmed some of it, but most of all of it would have been just me huffing and puffing. And that wouldn't have been very interesting YouTube. Lots of ferns around this area. Well, now that I speak about it, but as I was coming up near the rise there, the top of the hill, there's some over here. I don't know if you can see those out there or not. And we got us a nice blaze right there. So far this section of trail has been very well blazed. I did have to hunt back at the creek, but aside from that, this side's been very well blazed and pretty easy to follow. I still have a long lot of trail left to go. We'll see. There we go, more ferns. Woody has been working. A view down there of the lake, which I'm kind of paralleling right now. I wish we could see across the lake where it's actually a reservoir, where I hiked yesterday, so you could see how rugged that terrain is over there. It is what it is. Now, I want to talk to you for a moment about the importance of researching where the trail where the hike is taking place. I did do my research, and one of the things I saw was, how did they put it? They said that for hikers in shape and high skill level, and right now I would have to say my trail legs, I've been doing some hiking this spring, so there is a little bit of that. However, the flatlands of northern Indiana have nothing on this trail. And this trail yesterday, it was flat out kicking my tuchus. I mean, so I would say no trail legs, no trail body. So the answer is no to both of those. Although I think that I'm holding up pretty well. now that I don't know, probably getting somewhere in the neighborhood of hopefully halfway around this thing, because I sure think that it's a longer hike than the 25 miles that it's reported to be. Based on where the 14.5 put me at last night. So, due to my research and knowing what it was said, I have to look for some blaze here. Knowing what it was said about this trail being rugged, I have to agree with that, first of all. And then I would have to applaud myself for taking that into account when I packed my food. While I believed in my head that I might be able to do this in 2 days, had a little water crossing here. While I believed in my head that I could do this in 2 days, the reality may not be that. And I kind of thought that to myself. And so I was smart enough that I packed meals for 2.5 days, or 2 2/3 days, if you want to count it like that. And so I've still got meals for the rest of the day, and two meals for tomorrow if I need it. We'll just see how it goes. I already had it plotted that possibly it was going to take me longer than 2 days. And so, just in case, and way back in another lifetime I was a Boy Scout whose motto is to be prepared. And another little water crossing here, and a step down. I'm not in need of water at the moment. I'm not burning through it like I was quite yesterday when it said that it was, this morning when I just got on my phone, it said it was only 60 degrees out here. Well, 60, it may be 60 degrees, but I'm still sweating. Oh, more ferns. And another blaze. I will tell you that back here there was another one of those cuts for power lines. Sorry about the blown out image here, but it is what it is. And it does a jog. If you're traveling south on the west side, this is the first power line cut you come to, and it does a jog to the east. And there's barely a worn footpath indicating which way you gotta go. And then it kind of comes in through these wild rose bushes and whatnot. And there's a bunch of those on this trail. And there is a blaze, a much hidden blaze, but it's there. So I know I'm on trail again. And heading into the deep woods off again. I have a new buddy. You see him in the trail? Beautiful, isn't he? Today I am 5 miles in, and I will tell you that today I decided that I was going to do a better job of listening to my body and taking my own advice. And so I've come across this creek here. Can't hardly tell that it's running here, but downstream you can see that it's running. And I had consumed what I thought might have been enough water to refill. In fact, my electrolyte bottle is almost empty, and my plain water bottle is about half empty. And so I came across this little stream, and also my stomach got to rumbling a little bit, and I decided that it was time to take a break and listen to my body. So I came to this fork in the road, that way or that way, and I took this one to the left. I go down there and there's a blaze there, but then it runs in. This is downhill down this way, and down in the bottom of this is a marsh. And you go that way and it just widens out and widens out. And you're talking 100 yards, well, maybe not 100 yard, but 50 yard swim across it if you're going to try to get across there. Okay, so Onyx Backcountry says this is the direction of the trail. So I'm going to give it a shot and see where it goes. Now, I am nowhere near any woods. And the only way I can figure is somebody boated that table in here. That's crazy. I mean, we are in the woods. And I'm going to go on following the path here. Crazy things on the trail. Okay, so there is what looks like a very freshly painted blaze right there. And so I believe I'm headed the right way. Can you see that over there? It's like a swarm of butterflies. I wonder what's so fascinating. Okay, so coming up out of that creek, I lost the trail. And I will tell you, I got back on it using Onyx Backcountry, but I will tell you that I found the green fire, and my legs are burning right now. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. All right, I stopped here, took a break, ate a little snacks, and I killed off the rest of my water that I had left and my electrolyte mix that I had left, and then refilled everything. And the trail goes up over the way over there. I shouldn't have too much of a problem getting across here with keeping my feet dry. We're getting ready to get at it. Well, Bucky has been busy here. Look at all the wood chips down here. Holy cow. It's getting to be a trail hazard right there. Okay, trust me when I tell you, this trail is rugged in two ways. It's rugged in terrain, and it's rugged in vegetation. I have been bleeding from multiple places due to the vegetation. This place is very thick with the wild rose bushes. There's multiple other, what do we call it, flora and fauna, something along those lines. As we go along, trekking poles are definitely a help to help move vegetation out of your way. And although there are places you cannot swing your trekking poles, it's that tight. Now then, this is one of those cuts for the power lines It goes across and up above here. And it would be wonderful if I could see a blaze on the other side, but I cannot. So I'm just going to have to trust the somewhat of a path here. See where it leads us. So this sign seems to indicate that I'm only halfway down this side of the trail, or this side of the lake on this trail. And I don't know that I'm going to plan on doing all that. Okay, so I've decided that I am cowboy camping tonight. I just got my dinner. The sun is fading. I'm getting ready to call it a day. I would have liked to finish have finished this trail today, but I will tell you, this trail is a beast, and not for the faint of heart. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Folks, do me a favor. Down here at the bottom, if you like what you're seeing, hit like and subscribe, and stay tuned. There's always more to come. Thanks for watching.